mind and enlightenment. Relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta, and these are the antidotes. We need to rely on such antidotes. Now for the 18th point, we're almost finished, it's just 21. The 18th point is, it presents the benefits of understanding how the law of cause and effect works. And it is shown along with an example. So it's about 2.5 verses here. So it says that in that way, the person who understands and who believes in the connection between cause and effect, who believes in the law of karma, who believes in interdependent origination, if that person humbly, with that understanding, abandons negative deeds and strives in accumulating good deeds, then there is many good benefits. An example would be the person would be like there's, for example, there's a blind person who's walking near a cliff and can possibly take a misstep and fall down the cliff and die. So if one were to find such a blind person and pull them away from the cliff and show them or set for them sort of like a safer path to travel upon, then that is similar to the person who understands how the law of cause and effect works. Because it's basically saying the person who does not understand the law of cause and effect is like a blind person, a person who does not have vision. Not saying that that person is bad, but they may, fall into a dangerous place, an abyss, down the cliff, and to their own death. It's very dangerous for them. So likewise, we were saying that the person who does not understand how the law of cause and effect works is similar to a blind person because they do not know what they need to do, what is to be accepted, and what is to be rejected. They do not understand that they need to accumulate good deeds, and they do not know that they need to abandon negative deeds. The Shantideva, the great Indian masters, taught in the Bodhisattva Charyapada, the way of the Bodhisattva, that sentient beings, they wish for happiness, but they're always creating the causes for their own misery. And so, with this we can understand that if you are ignorant of how the law of cause and effect works, even if you want to be happy, you will not be happy, because you do not know the cause and effect relation. So this is the example. It is similar to a blind person. So if you pull the blind person away from the cliff and set them on a safer path, the person who understands the law of cause and effect is similar to that. They are now going on a safer path because they are now traveling on a path where temporarily, from lifetime to lifetime, while they are in cyclic existence, they will go from attaining higher and higher rebirths, and ultimately they will obtain full enlightenment. So now that is a safe path. And Papa Rinpoche says that for any person, any ordinary person, whoever has the correct view, or basically understanding of law of cause and effect, it doesn't matter who you are, as long as you have the right understanding of how it works, then for even 1,000 years you will not be reborn in the lower realms. Because the person who understands how it works and who usually contemplates on the law of cause and effect will naturally not accumulate negative deeds, because they know the faults of accumulating negative deeds. And they will naturally accumulate good deeds because they know the benefits. Of course, in Buddhism, we tell, the Buddha has taught, what you need to do, what you should not do. But sometimes we might not feel like following it, or we don't see the great need. So that's why it's important to understand. That's where where the importance is to understand the benefits of accumulating good deeds and abandoning negative deeds. When you hear the faults of accumulating negative deeds, you'll naturally be afraid. Like, for example, if your doctor were to inform you that you have cancer, it's a late stage cancer, you're going to die soon. Now you're very afraid that you don't have much longer to live. So we already taught here what is the cause of a short lifespan. So now you can avoid that from happening in a very early stage by avoiding its cause, which is killing. And likewise, the same goes for the good deeds. Now for the 19th point, it says that even if you were to accumulate slight misdeeds or negative deeds, you need to confess it immediately. And even if you were to accumulate a slight good deed, you need to dedicate it and offer prayers immediately. And if you can practice in such a way, you will obtain all of the ordinary and uncommon attainments. Digla zemshing shapadang gela doshin yongmobe ngame gyule jiuchi shindu pewa gyule na tamjik gyule kobani tseme bayam juba gyul. So it says that the person who is careful from committing negative deeds, and by any chance they do happen to commit negative deeds, they confess it immediately. That is very good. And the person who has great joy in accumulating good deeds and always dedicates that merit, that is also very good. And if they can dedicate their merit, all of their merit will be multiplied greatly. And they can easily obtain full enlightenment without much difficulty. So it is usually taught that a Dharma practitioner has two main jobs. First, to control yourself from committing negative deeds. Avoid committing negative deeds in the first place. That is the first job. The second thing is that by any chance you do happen to commit the negative deed, then you need to confess it immediately. That is the second job. And it is said that if a person can practice in such a way, they will never be endowed with any negative deeds, and they will always be a pure being. And dedication and merit is also very important, because we accumulate a lot of good deeds, but if we do not dedicate it, it can go to waste. So, for example, if we save a life, if we buy some chickens from the slaughterhouse, we save a life, put them in a safe farm maybe. That's a good deed. And there will certainly be a good result from that. But if you do not dedicate that merit, you will experience the result, and then that's that. It's a used up. The good deed is sort of used up in that way. So what is dedication and merit? It is basically, of course, you need to have something to dedicate in the first place, which is the good deed, any kind of good deed. And you pray that through the power of accumulating this good deed, may it serve as a cause for all sentient beings to attain enlightenment. So this kind of thought is a form of prayer, and it is a dedication and merit. And this will secure your good deed, and the result of happiness will be unceasing until you attain enlightenment. It is stored, like safely storing your money in a bank. It is safely stored. Otherwise, just simply, accumulating a good deed and not dedicating it, it is like having some money and then on the road somebody snatches it away and it's taken. Now for the 20th point, it shows that by understanding that on the relative level, all of the, both cause and effect are of the nature of interdependent origination. They have that connection. You need to understand that on the relative level, they are interdependent origination. And by understanding that, the understanding of its nature, which is emptiness, will arise. And to show this, Papa Rinpoche writes, so it says that on the relative level, if you understand the interdependent origination or connection between cause and effect, then you will naturally understand its ultimate nature, which is emptiness, the empty nature of cause and effect. Now for the 21st point, the last one, finally. It shows that the understanding of the connection, the interdependent connection between cause and effect is the foundation or basis for a pure conduct and pure views. And so therefore those who seek liberation, whether it is the Arahata liberation or those who wish to attain full enlightenment, should in the very onset understand its connection well. And for this, there is the verse, so it says, therefore, since the understanding of the interdependent connection between cause and effect is the basis for excellent views in conduct, one should train in understanding the connection between interdependent connection between cause and effect from the very beginning, from the very early stage of one's practice. So this shows that whatever Buddhist practice we want to do, we should always understand how law of karma works. And with that understanding, then it's very good to practice the Dharma. So with this, we have completed the actual part. Now, for the conclusion, there's several parts about 5 parts for the conclusion. Papa Rinpoche first shows here who is the person who requested him to write this book. So it says that although he is young, his demeanor is of a mature, older person, of a wise, mature person, of an elder one. And although everything is going well for him, although he's very rich and basically very wealthy, he still always is in pursuit of acquiring good qualities. And although he holds a very high status, he is very humble. This person is Jingim, and he requested me to write this. So this is referring to Prince Jingim, also known as Denjin. He is the son of the Emperor Kublai Khan, founder of the Yuan dynasty, which is a Mongol empire, which had control over all of, not of course Mongolia, but also Tibet, China, and Korea, and some other parts as well. So there was a very large dynasty during the 13th to 14th centuries, and Prince Jingim was the crown prince of the Yuan dynasty. But he died before his father passed away, so therefore he was never able to succeed Emperor Kublai Khan as the emperor of the Yuan, as the second emperor of the Yuan dynasty. So anyways, he was a disciple, like his father, a disciple of Drogon Chogyal Phagpa. And he was a great benefactor of the Buddha Dharma as well. And it was to his request that Phagpa wrote this. Now, to identify the person who wrote this, Sungrab Rab Nam Chebe, Shirab Rab Salu, Denjugun Kerab Rab Chosumba Shin Rab Mawa Pap Bejal. So, Phagpa just says the person who wrote this is a person who understands the scriptures correctly, excellently. A person who has a correct and excellent understanding of the scriptures and the differences between the scriptures, and has excellent wisdom or knowledge, very clear, excellent knowledge. And a person who is able to teach the Buddha Dharma just as the Buddha had taught himself. And this person is Phagpa, and Phagpa wrote this book. So he's basically describing himself. Now for the third part of the conclusion, it is the dedication and merit for writing this work. So through the merit of writing this work on the law of cause and effect, may all sentient beings completely abandon negative deeds, and by that may they be guided by the Buddhas onto the right, correct path, which is the path into enlightenment. Now for the fourth part, it is about showing that the name, comparing the name or the title of this work along with the example. There is one of Rinpoche, Namchu Kabe Lekjube, Le Jesa Menonga, Losanangi Tawaki. So he's basically describing his work, the clear view of cause and effect, that this work is similar to a blacksmith. A blacksmith is very careful in their work, known to be very careful in their work, and precise. So, similarly to a blacksmith, this work has carefully examined the teachings of the Buddha, especially the teachings on the law of cause and effect taught by the Buddha, and that topic has been presented in this work. So therefore, the people with right minds, with understanding and with the wish, or the will to learn and practice should certainly read this book and learn it and put it to practice. And finally, there's the part, the final part. This like the describing where it was written, or sort of like when it was written. Le Gudam Jiru Nabal Shapa Sawa Temba, Le Desa Meong Shechawa, Luna Ripe, Hekonani Chinjin Maloba, Mawa Papa Shechawe, Sapo, Taigo, Tundarawe, Sejugula Jawa, Sisujaba, Shijutama. Says Shuso. This seems to be an error in the printing. It must be Zoso. It should be Zoso. So it says that this work, which clearly shows the function of how the cause and effect works, which is known as the clear mirror of cause and effect, was written by the person who was endowed with both scriptural understanding and realization understanding. And this person is Phagpa, Chogyal Phagpa. And it was written in the earth, the male earth horse year. So that would be the year that I mentioned earlier, 1258. 1258. And Döndarawa is one of the months. It is the seventh month, I believe. Seventh month. And the day was the 19th day. That was when it was written. And then after that, with this we have now completed the root text. There's some verses written by Jamgon Amisha to conclude his own commentary. We can go to that quickly. It's not in your books. He recommends that the people who wish to, have the right understanding and to accumulate merit, people who are willing to do so should consult or read this text, both the root verse and the commentary. And he says that in the times of past, the great Dharma king Sakya, the great glorious Papa Rinpoche, was a great powerful one with majestic glory, and he governed over the entire Tibet and surrounding lands. And all bowed down to his lotus feet by seeking him as their teacher. And this is very true because Kublai Khan offered a rulership over the entire Tibet to Chogyal Phagpa. So after the fall of the imperial dynasty, Tibet had its own imperial dynasty. Tibet was for over several hundred years without any rulers, people to govern it. It was broken up. But the first power to unify Tibet once again after the fall of the imperial dynasty was the Sakyas. And especially he started with Drogon Chogyal Phagpa. Sort of like, so from Drogon Chogyal Phagpa, from his time up until there was about 7 kings or 7 rulers of Tibet were all from the Khön family. Well, actually one was not from the Khön family, one was from the Luding family, but the remaining 6 were from the Khön family. So basically they were all belonged to the Sakya tradition and they ruled over Tibet. And so in that way it is true that Papa Rinpoche ruled over Tibet. And also he looked after the other countries, and this is true because he looked after the other countries to the Dharma, the teachings of the Dharma. He was the guru or the spiritual advisor or teacher of the Khan, the Emperor Kublai Khan, who was the emperor of the Yuan dynasty. And Emperor Kublai Khan appointed Chogyal Phagpa as the president of the Bureau of Buddhist and Tibetan Affairs. So this department oversaw, governing the entire Tibet, but not just that, but it oversaw whoever was appointed as the president had to look over and deal with all of the Buddhist temples within the Yuan Empire. So therefore it can be rightly said that Chogyal Phagpa was not only the head of Tibetan Buddhism of his time, but he was also the head of Mongolian Buddhism, Chinese Buddhism, and Korean Buddhism, because all of that was under him. He was in name at least, according to title, he was the imperial preceptor, the highest spiritual figure within the Yuan Empire. So all of the Buddhist temples were under his guidance. And Jamgon Amisha reminds the readers that at the time when Emperor Kublai Khan offered Tibet to Papa Rinpoche, Papa Rinpoche made sure that all of the traditions could be practiced peacefully without being disturbed. Because Emperor Kublai Khan was a staunch Sakya follower. So once he had offered Tibet to Papa Rinpoche, he told Papa Rinpoche, how about we make all Tibetan Buddhist followers Sakyapa, and we have no other Tibetan Buddhist tradition in Tibet. Let's make it just Sakyapa, and only Sakyapa available. But Papa Rinpoche, although he was the head of the Sakyapa order, and if he was like somebody who was not a very good person or good nature and wanted to take some advantage, that would have been his opportunity to make the whole Tibetan Buddhism just Sakyapa. But instead, he was a very kind person. He had great faith towards all of the different traditions impartially. Of course, we usually say that the Rinpoche movement, it starts with Chaya Kinze Wangbu Chögyal Phagpa Majamga Gongchu Chaya Chögyal. Of course, during that time, 19th to 20th century, there was a very strong Rinpoche movement. But if you look back in history, you can find that one of the first initiatives of the Rinpoche movement was made by Drogon Chogyal Phagpa, because he told the Emperor Kublai Khan, no, we cannot make them all Sakyapa. We need to let them practice in peace in their own way. Each tradition or follower should have the choice of freedom to follow whatever they wish. So in that way, they were all left. Gelug was not a tradition yet. Tsongkhapa was not born. But there was at that time the Nyingmapa tradition, the Kadampa tradition, and the Kalgipa tradition, and of course the Sakyapa. So in that way, he sort of saved all of them from being converted to Sakyapa. And so they were all, of course, very grateful to him as well in return. And so this great kindness which Papa Rinpoche showed should be remembered. However, nowadays, people who do not understand history well, who do not remember his great activities well, sort of slander Papa Rinpoche and make up some history and say a bunch of nonsense about him, which seems to have been during Jamgon Amishap's time. People who do not understand that he must have said things about Papa Rinpoche, that he took advantage and got power and misused it and some things like that. Jamgon Amishap is saying that it's not true. He got the power, yes, but he used it correctly according to the Dharma. And he says that he himself, Jamgon Amishap, has read the Dharma King Papa Rinpoche's biography, and from this he has become confident of Papa Rinpoche's activities and his good activities. And out of gratitude, he is writing this commentary. And as a result, through the merit of writing this commentary, may the needs of others and also the needs of oneself all be spontaneously accomplished. And